Hey, so we're supposed to be a channel about do-it-yourself, first-timers, all about learning engines and stuff like that. So let's touch on the topic of do-it-yourself cylinder honing. Yeah, I don't know where to begin. Okay. So there's a lot of do-it-yourself for people out there showing you how to do a quick rehone job and stuff like that. And there's a lot of good information. The big thing is don't use these for your basic touching up your cylinder walls. You use something like this, okay? Because the whole idea of that is this will straighten out your bore. So they're totally right. But if you want to take it to the next level, then don't use this, do use this. But let me explain. If you're going to be doing a few engines, if it's something that you're looking forward to doing, invest in something like this, okay? The stones retract square. They'll take taper out. They will stay true. They'll make your cylinder wall rounder than this will. I mean, this is not a substitute. Sorry, excuse me. I'm getting over a nasty chest infection. This is not a substitute for a proper bore dart job, a diamond hone with torque plates, but it definitely takes your do-it-yourself at home honing to the next level. This is a very good option. It makes a very good job if you do it right. You start on there with a coarse stone, and then you finish off with one of these, and you get a fine grit one. You do a few passes with that just to put your Plateau on. Okay, so I just dug out an old block here. It's destined to go and get bored 20 over and stuff like that. It's out of my core pile. So it's still dirty and everything like that, but we're just going to do a quick hone on one cylinder so I can show you how all of this happens. And this one here is small block Chevy, obviously. Now, note how close the head bolt hole is to the bore as opposed to the Ford Windsor. I mean, this is way back. So when you tighten your head down, in a sense, you got a bolt going through here and you're tightening it down, and that's squishing all of this together. When you take something and you squish it, it's going to grow out this way. And that's what happens with your cylinder walls if your bolt hole for your head is close to the cylinder wall. So that's what torque plate's all about. To simulate that, to compensate for the squish, so it swells this up. You cut a little bit more off of here. When you have tension on that, makes the round cylinder wall. If you do a hone job, a bore job, or anything like that, and you don't have that happen, when you tighten it up, this will indeed swell, and you'll have tight spots where each one of them is. So if you want to take your boring job or your do-it-yourself at home hone job with the better hone stone, grab yourself some washers, bolts that stick into the block, the approximate amount that your head bolt goes in, and torque them. That will compensate, that will squish, bulges out so you get a true round finish. Now that's not going to work with your regular 3-finger type hone. It'll work with the one we're about to demonstrate. We're just going to take a razor blade type, one of these X-Acto knife deals, and just on the top of this particular one we got a bunch of just a bunch of that gooey residue. We're just going to scrape that out of there, just so we don't muck up our stone. So I've washed this really good in here with some good brake clean, got all the oil film off. Like I say, this is for demo only, so the block hasn't been hot tanked or anything. It's destined to go get machined yet. I just needed something to show you guys this, that's all. Hey. When you get one of these, if you decide to do that, get yourself an assortment of stones. They come in various different grits. These run about $200. The stones run, I think, about $15 to $20 for a set. Get yourself a few sets, and it's a very simple. You just pull that up. You expand that. And this here top one's your adjuster for as you go. So we're just going to back that off. See if we can get an extra notch on that. And you can use all different things. I prefer to use a solvent when I'm doing it. You can do it dry if you want. I prefer to use Varsol, brake clean, anything like that. Okay, we're going to back up just a little bit here. Before we start, just want to... So you can see it's glazed up. It's smooth, like it's, you know, polished type of thing. There's no crosshatch left in it. Has very minimum ridge at the top. It has light surface rust. So, should have mentioned this earlier, but for a do-it-yourself, at-home, hone and re-ring job, I mean, you have to have the right candidate to do that. If you have big gouges in your cylinder wall, it's not going to work. If you have excessive wear, it's not going to work. If you have a lot of rust, it is not going to work. So on this one here, I don't know if you can see the dial there or not, but we're going to center this right at the top. Well, we won't center it. We'll just read the number. 85. We go right to the bottom. And we're 5/10 smaller at the bottom. And right in the middle where they like to swell, we're about 1 thou. So if you use this, these are going to ride on the bottom and the top, and they're going to be angled like that. You're not going to take the taper out. Obviously, if you use this, it's going to make a nice looking home, but it's just going to follow the existing shape. Okay, let's hone this. For me, it's always easy to say, you know, no, you got to use your CK, you got to use your stones and torque plates and all that kind of stuff. I quite often forget that my whole purpose of this is for do-it-yourself. And this will make actually a very nice finish. I like using a Varsol or a brake clean or something, simply because I find that oil gums up these particular stones. And of course I'm out. I'll get another one. I recommend you use a cordless drill. Don't use a big electric drill, because when they hook on the bottom, they're going to rip your arms off. It takes so little with this. Probably going to have to get a different drill. That's the wrong drill. Oh yeah, there's a good one. At a time. But you know, all in all, it's not bad. It's a nice little thing for a do-it-yourselfer. At this point, if you're doing a performance build, this is good enough. This is accurate enough that you can go in there and take yourself out an extra thou if you want a little bit more clearance. Go to the top, go to the bottom. I zero out my gauge. We still have a thou taper in it. You can see where the rings were riding before. The other thing you can do about these also is if you have a good bit of taper, and sometimes your cylinder walls get very, very hard, you can just pull your stone back here on the bottom and put a little piece of cardboard shim in there, and that will help you get your taper out. Because these stones, obviously, you're honing a block that has taper, they're going to wear into a cone shape anyways. You can get a really good job with this. Again, it's not, you know, it's not like it's done with plates and a diamond hone and all of that, but you can still get a very nice job with this. You can hear, I don't know if you can hear it on there. You can hear how it slows down at the bottom. It draws more because of our taper. I'm going to start using putting a bit of a crosshatch in it now. I'm going to measure and see where we're at. We're just going to pretend we're looking for an extra thou clearance on this one because we're putting a performance, you know, building performance build. Look at that. We're getting a very nice looking bore already, and we've been in there a few minutes. We still have the ridges at the top. Our bottom is now 0.3 of a thousandths taper is all we have there. We'll do a little bit more. We'll get that last little bit of taper out of there, and then we're going to bring it on our gauge, the whole thing, to 1,000 more clearance. Now I'll get rid of a good bit of that. I won't get rid of all of it, but get rid of a lot more than you would have with the other method. So these here, I'm doing this with a 180 stone. So let's say you're going to use a plasma moly ring. You're going to want something a little bit finer than that, not too much more. So this is going to establish our nice crosshatch. It's also going to give us some nice valleys to hold the oil. And then we're going to go back with this device here, and we're going to give it the nice plateau. And the nice, you know, a nicer 280 grit finish. Okay. Don't know if you can hear that now, but already we're getting consistent tone and speed as we go up and down. The taper is now gone. Let's see what we got for clearance on that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take that out about another half a thou with these stones. Of course, you know, like if we had the new pistons and all that, we would mic them. We would transfer that measurement to here. We'll show you all about that later. That's not what this is about. And then we would zero this out, and we would hone until it came to the zero mark. That's not what we're about here. We're just about the honing tool. Okay. Measure that for us. $85. We are 1 thou bigger at the top, and we have 1/10 of a thou taper at the bottom. So that, as you can see, that happened very quick with a 180 stone. Before we go any further, I want to clean that so you can just see what that looks like. So if you're planning on, doing this as a hobby, getting that tool is money well spent. We're going to do a section on tools and stuff. We'll explain that in detail. We're also, at that point, we'll talk about these dial bore gauges and all that kind of stuff. So all we got left there, the rust is gone. The taper is gone. We have no vertical scratches in that bore at all. You can see a slight little shadow where the top ring came. You can barely feel it. We could probably get that out if we wanted to, but on purpose, we could get that out with another 1/2 thou. But I'm purposely going to leave that there because sometimes you're not going to be able to get it out. Now I'm going to show you where this tool becomes useful. It's going to put that nice plateau finish on there. And any little shadow you have up in underneath where the ring was or anything like that, it's going to get rid of that. It's going to give us a nice little crosshatch. I don't know how well my camera's going to pick that up for you guys. I hope it shows it good enough. And this ain't going to take much out. This might take that last 1/10 out, plus give us our crosshatch and give us a nice plateau hole for the rings to seal on with a nice valley for oil retention, which is what seals your ring. And there we are. That quick and easy. We are there exactly on target, our extra thou. We have only 1/10 a taper. We're dead on there. We're going to go down to where about halfway down, and we're going to measure this in quite a few spots. And I'm going to we're dead on. Okay, let's see if I can zoom in there and show you a good picture of that cylinder wall. Well, I think you can see it from there. See that little ring on the top there. And I don't think I can get my camera in any closer. So there you are. For do-it-yourself at home honing job, I don't know how you could improve on that. I wish I could get you better angles. It's just my camera's not that good. But we have a small little minuscule amount of ridge left at the top. We could get that out with a bit of work. We have that tiny little shadow at the top, which is minuscule. We managed to take the taper out of our bore. We kept everything round. If we had been doing a small block Chevy, we would have done, I don't know, we'll just call it an econo torque plate. We would have put some bolts in there and swelled up the bolt bosses around the bore. Where is it here? This thing here, our fancy home, wherever I put it, would have compensated for that, would have took them out. That's a good home job, for a do-it-yourself re-ring job. So there's your 3 choices. You have these. You have this. Don't use this to hone. Use this only to make a nice finish, your plateau after you hone. And if your bore has any shape, outer round, taper, anything like that, don't use that. Invest in this tool if this is going to be your hobby, you buy this one time, buy yourself a bunch of stones. You can get various grits. You can get these up to 40 grit, and they chew like crazy. I mean, I don't know where you'd use 40 grit. I suppose you were brave and you wanted to try to bore 110 over. You could probably use your 40 grit and do that and then finish it with a finer grit. But they come in an assortment of bores. These are great tools for do-it-yourself at home. I bought this many, many years ago. It's had a lot of use on it. It's getting pretty worn and beat up. Doesn't get used now because we got the nice sun in. So, anyways, I hope some of you guys can use that information. I hope it makes your builds better. That's what we're about. Have a nice day, everyone.